Everyone listens to stories, but we all listen from different places, right? So tell me in the comments, where are you listening from today? And hit subscribe. Some stories are more than just fiction.
Helion 9. Dry winds screamed through rusted turbines. Metal dunes shimmered under the glare of twin suns. Rian adjusted the visor on his exosuit, wiping a streak of grease from his cheek. Sparks danced as he welded the actuator coil of a derelict cargo hauler. Behind him, the workshop buzzed with quiet mechanical life. "Dad!" He turned. Lyra, 7 years old, sprinted barefoot across the cracked floor. She held a tiny plate in trembling hands. On it, a misshapen synthetic cake flickered with a glitching holocandle. "You forgot," she said, her eyes wide. Ryan's heart sank. No, I didn't forget. Just postponed." She frowned, unconvinced. He crouched, pulled her into a tight hug. "I promise. Tonight, we celebrate." Lyra grinned. "Deal." Then the sky changed. A deep hum rippled through the air. Ryan's HUD lit up with proximity alerts. Above, the clear gradient of Helion's atmosphere fractured like glass under pressure. A beam of cobalt light sliced through the clouds, trailing ionized gas and magnetic wake. He stared. That wasn't a meteor. It was steering. "Inside." "Now," he ordered, voice clipped. Lyra hesitated. "Run!" She bolted into the shelter. Ryan grabbed his rail pistol, jumped into his battered skimmer, and gunned the thrusters. The impact site was less than 3 clicks away. As he crossed the last ridge, his pulse spiked. The sand below glowed blue. Smoke hissed from a crystalline vessel, half buried in the dune, its hull cracked but regenerating. Not Terran, not even Council tech. Ryan stepped closer. The ship pulsed like a living thing. Then it opened. A figure emerged, tall, translucent, glowing from within. Light shimmered under her skin like bioluminescent rivers. She staggered, clutching a smaller figure, an adolescent boy with silver eyes and no visible mouth. "I am Elira," she said. Her voice echoed like chimes in deep caverns. "My core systems are failing." Ryan pointed his pistol at her chest. "You're not from any known registry." "No, I am Solari, and I need shelter." The boy collapsed. Ryan's instincts fought logic. Strangers, unknown biology, potential contagion, threat level, undefined. But something in her eyes, no, in her light, reflected a desperate parental plea he recognized. He lowered the weapon. "Get in. I'll stabilize your core. But if this is a trap..." She nodded. "I understand." They vanished into the storm, heading back to the outpost. Inside the garage, Lyra stared at the glowing woman with awe. Elira's skin was cracked in places, leaking light instead of blood. Ryan strapped her into the diagnostic rig. "Energy matrix is unlike anything I've seen," he muttered. Elira's hand brushed the controls. "The core is fracturing. I need resonance calibration, frequency 6.3 terahertz. Rian blinked. "You know tech. I built this ship with my son." Kyle, the boy, lay unconscious on the table. Lyra approached, holding a piece of synthetic cake. "Want some?" she whispered. His eyes fluttered open, the silver gleam focused on her. He smiled, barely. "Thank you," he said, not with words, but through a voice that resonated directly into her mind. Hours passed. Ryan worked. Elira watched. He patched the shattered resonance chamber using fusion clamps and recycled relays. Her pulse dimmed, then stabilized. "You saved us," she said. "No," he replied. "I just fixed what was broken." But outside, something stirred in orbit. Satellites blinked red. 3 black dots emerged above the sky, fast, angular, silent. Ryan stared at the radar. Unidentified ships, vectoring this location, no IFF codes. Elira's glow flickered. They found me. Who? The Order of Iron, she whispered. They want what I carry, and they will kill to take it. The black ships screamed through the upper atmosphere, shedding plasma heat like comet tails. Rian didn't need the radar to tell him they were military. Their vector was too precise, too efficient. Inside the workshop, systems flickered. EMP pulses skimmed the shield envelope. Elira gripped the bench, her light fluctuating erratically. "They're using ionic dampeners," she said. "They're blinding my inner field." Rian didn't blink. He was already dragging Kale's unconscious body toward the sublift. "Lyra, get your coat. We're going below." The girl obeyed without a word. Elira staggered. "We can't outrun them, not with my ship grounded. We're not running." He slammed a fist against the wall panel. The floor split open with a hydraulic hiss. A hidden elevator descended into darkness. "What is this?" she asked, voice vibrating with failing harmonics. He looked back, dead serious. "Refuge. I call it the Heart of Iron." The descent was fast, brutal. The walls of the shaft screamed from friction as old pistons fought gravity. Below, the substation glowed with backup power. Massive turbines lined the curved walls, interspersed with crates, relics, and old tech from forgotten wars. "This was my wife's design," Rian said, breath ragged. "She believed Helion-9 would one day burn. We built this to survive." Elira looked around, eyes reflecting the industrial ghosts. She was right. "She died 3 years ago," he said flatly. "Pirates—" "I buried her under the main thruster coil." They walked past a wall of faded holograms. One showed a family of 3, Rian in younger days, holding Lyra as a baby. The woman beside him had the same fire in her eyes that Elira did now. "I couldn't save her," he added, "but I can save you." For the first time, Elira smiled, just barely, and something in her glow stabilized. Upstairs, the Order's ships landed with crushing silence. Matte black landing gear dug into the sand. From the belly of the lead ship, 3 armored figures emerged, their suits hissing with pressurized atmosphere. They deployed drones, small, spherical, and quiet as death. Below ground, Rian saw them on his screens. No insignias, no voices, just movement. "They will not negotiate," Elira said. "They want my core signature, and they want Kale." "Why?" "My people generate photonic energy naturally. The Order wants to weaponize it, use us as fuel or batteries." Rian's hands clenched into fists. "Of course they do." He began working, fast. He assembled a trap from old mining charges, linking them to motion-sensitive beams. Lyra handed him tools without asking. Elira watched in silence. "You're not just a mechanic," she said. "I was an engineer in the Terran Siege Corps. Retired early. Why? I got tired of seeing light go out in people's eyes." The Order's drones reached the surface hatch. One hovered near the entrance. It emitted a ping, scanned the metal, found the irregularities. It beamed the coordinates to the assault team. Inside the bunker, the hum of charge-up grew louder. Rian checked his rig. "They'll breach in 2 minutes. Once they're inside, we can't let them reach the core vault." Elira stepped forward. Her body trembled with effort, skin cracking with radiant strain. "I'll go up." "You won't make it." "I'm not afraid of dying. I've died before, when my people were wiped out." "No," Rian snapped. "We do this my way." He pulled open a concealed passage behind the fusion vent. "Tunnels run through the old mining veins. I use them to dump core waste far from prying eyes." He looked at Kyle, who was starting to wake. "You carry a torch, kid. Don't let them steal it." Kale's silver eyes blinked. "I won't!" The breach came like thunder. The floor shook. Dust cascaded from the ceiling. 3 Order troopers burst into the chamber, armor absorbing bullets of sound and shrapnel. But Rian had timed the trap well. Motion trigger, flash detonation. The first trooper flew backward, impaled on a steel rod. The second was blinded by the blast. Elira launched a pulse of raw light that overloaded his suit's optics. He collapsed, twitching. The third fired blindly. Rian tackled him, slamming his plasma wrench into the joint of the neck plate. Sparks flew. The soldier choked on his last breath. But it wasn't over. Outside, the flagship powered up its core weapon, a gravimetric disruptor. If fired, it would collapse the entire mine system, burying the heart of iron under molten steel. Rian saw the power surge on his scanner. "Move!" They ran. Through the tunnels. Steam hissed around them. The lights dimmed. The walls creaked. At the exit tunnel, a detonation rocked the roof behind them. "Go!" Rian shouted, pushing Elira forward. Outside, they burst into the open, into the endless dunes lit by a blood-red sun. The Solari ship was gone, but Kyle pointed upward, a flicker, almost invisible. Elira's skin glowed brighter. It answered our beacon, a Solari relay drone. It brought a secondary vessel. A stealth glider dropped through the atmosphere, folding space around itself in waves. It landed softly, silent as breath. "We're not done," Rian said, helping Lyra aboard. "We bring the fight to them now." Elira took his hand. Her skin hummed warmly. Together. The stealth glider carved low over Hellion 9's rust-red dunes. Elira stood at the cockpit's edge, hand pressed against the console, feeding the ship her own energy. Pale light pulsed from her fingers into the crystalline interface. "She's bonded to the vessel," Rian muttered, impressed. "It's responding to her like a neural echo." Lyra sat beside Kale, both strapped in. The boy's silver eyes followed the stars above, his lips unmoving, but his voice whispering inside Lyra's mind. "They won't stop. They want the light forge." Rian glanced back. "What's a light forge?" Elira turned. "It's embedded in my core, encoded memory, Solari blueprints, galactic coordinates, and truth, evidence of the Order's infiltration of the Galactic Council." She raised her arm. Thin cracks spread like glowing veins beneath her translucent skin. "They're afraid it'll expose everything." And they're right. The glider approached the abandoned refinery site, steel ribs bent skyward, half-buried reactors blinking in error code. The Leni markers were etched on the outer wall, ancient, organic sigils that shimmered when scanned. "They're here," Elira whispered. Rian tapped the control panel. Heat signatures, low, humanoid, 17 life forms. Looks like camouflage tech. As the ramp descended, glowing figures emerged from the shadows. The Theleni, plant-skinned, bark-textured humanoids with golden eyes and bio-armor that shimmered like dewdrops under light. One stepped forward. "Elira of the Solari, we thought you lost. I brought the seed of truth," she said. Rian stepped down, weapon in hand. "And we brought friends." Inside the old refinery, the Theleni had transformed the chambers into a living sanctuary. Roots grew through walls, forming conduits of bioluminescent power. Holovines displayed ancient glyphs and warning signals. "We detected the Order's pursuit," said the Theleni elder. "We assumed you would come here." Kale spoke for the first time, voice a metallic harmony. "They've marked this place. A full warship scans for photonic emissions. If they detect us, they'll glass this quadrant." Rian looked at the holomap. "We can use that." He pointed to a communications tower near the equator ridge. "If we bounce a signal burst off their scanning relay, we can fake a transmission. Make it look like we've already sent your files to the Galactic Council." Elira's eyes gleamed. "A bluff. A trap," he corrected. They split into teams. Elira and Kale would stay at the sanctuary, protected by Theleni warriors. Rian and Lyra would infiltrate the relay site. "Dad, I want to help." "You already are. Just stay close." The ride across the dunes was silent. Lyra, for the first time, looked afraid. "Are we going to die?" Rian didn't answer. At the relay, sand hissed in the wind. The structure was derelict, but still had power. Rian climbed the side with an old grappler cable, anchoring to an exposed beam. Inside the control node, he tapped into the mainframe. Still here, old Terran firmware. He uploaded a dummy transmission, encrypted data with synthetic Solari signatures. Sending now. As it transmitted, the signal pinged back. Too fast. Too deliberate. They'd taken the bait. Back at the sanctuary, Elira stood in the ritual chamber, light flaring across her body. Thelini children watched in awe as she transmitted pieces of the light forge into the living root net. "It's not just data," one of them said. "It's memory. It's alive." But something shifted in the air. The roots pulsed dark for a moment, then static. Outside, warning petals bloomed red across the sanctuary. Order forces were inbound. "They're jamming our output," Kyle said. Theleni scouts burst into the chamber. "Drop pods. Eastern Ridge. 30 soldiers. Mech support." Ryan's voice came through the link. "They're here." The battle began fast and brutal. Plasma bolts carved through root walls. Thelini warriors emerged from the trees, launching sonic spikes and vine net grenades. Drones hissed overhead. One exploded, caught by a Thelini archer who impaled it midair. Inside the central chamber, Elira stood at the convergence point. Her body surged with energy, brighter than ever. "They're breaking through," Kyle said, helping her maintain stability. Outside, Ryan slammed a detonator against a mech's leg, blasting it sideways. He dragged Lyra under a fallen support beam, shielding her from the blast. "You okay?" She nodded, blood on her cheek. I'll live." He emerged, rifle up. The final wave approached, led by a tall figure in obsidian armor, Varric Drain, Order Commander, killer of Solari, betrayer of the Council. He raised a sonic disruptor. "Give me the Solari, or I glass this entire planet." Ryan stepped forward. "You're too late. The data's already been transmitted to 20 Terran colonies. Any wrong move, and the whole Council sees your crimes." Drain paused, then laughed. "Bluff! Your tech's too old." He raised the disruptor, but Elira screamed, not with fear but release. Her body exploded in light. Waves of photonic energy surged outward, burning through the disruptor's circuits. Drain staggered, armor melting at the edges. Ryan didn't hesitate. He triggered his EMP pulse. The device sent a shockwave through the battlefield. Mechs collapsed. Drones short-circuited mid-air. Order soldiers fell like puppets. A ship's roar echoed above. The Council had arrived. They had seen the transmission. Theleni vines wrapped around the remaining soldiers. Drain was pulled to his knees, light from Elira's body holding him in stasis. "You used to believe in peace," she said. "What happened to you?" "Peace is for the weak," he spat. Ryan walked up, placed a boot on his chest, and cracked the visor. "We'll see what the Council thinks." He looked up at Elira. "You burned bright," she smiled. "And you fought like light." They left the battlefield behind, the smell of scorched metal still hanging in the air. The Council's envoy ships hovered like silver sentinels above Helion 9, flooding the dunes with searchlights and scanning beams. Council officers disembarked in full regalia, demanding formal records, custody protocols, and witness briefings. Rian ignored them all. He had one priority, Elira. She sat in the healing chamber of the Theleni, her body dimming like a setting star. Her glow, once fierce, now flickered. Kyle sat beside her, his small hand wrapped around hers. "She used too much energy," the Theleni elder said, her cores overdrawn. Ryan's jaw clenched. "There has to be something." "She's not dying," Kyle whispered. "She's changing." Indeed, her form began to shift, not in pain, but in pattern. Her skin turned from translucent crystal to a pearlescent sheen. The glow faded inward, not out. Her voice returned, soft as wind across glass. "My body can no longer sustain photonic discharge," she said, "but something else has awakened." Elira stood slowly. Her feet left the ground, hovering. Gravity bent around her. The vines of the Theleni twisted toward her, reacting to the shift. Her light wasn't gone. It was now inside the root system. "She's sinking," the elder whispered, "with the planet itself." The council's representative, an Elvari diplomat wrapped in golden exorobes, stepped forward, guarded by synth-armored escorts. "We are grateful for your signal," she said coldly. "The Order of Iron will face tribunal charges. Varek Drain is already in stasis." Rian barely looked at her. Lyra clung to his leg, still trembling. "You showed up when the danger was over," he muttered. "Where were you when they were burning the dunes?" The Elvari tilted her head. "That's not our jurisdiction. Helion 9 is considered a non-priority world." "Not anymore," Elira said, stepping forward. Her glow was stable now, focused. "This world houses a living network, tied to my kind. The Lightforge is seeded." The Elvari blinked. The Lightforge was myth. Elira's eyes flared. It was. That night, under the bioluminescent canopy of the Theleni Grove, a rare moment of peace settled. Rian and Lyra sat beside a small fire. Kyle rested nearby, humming low frequencies that made the leaves around him pulse in harmony. Elira stood apart, eyes fixed on the stars. "Will you leave?" Rian asked. She didn't turn. "I can't stay." "But you're linked to the planet now." "Yes, and through the planet, to others like it. There are Solari remnants across the galaxy. They'll feel my reawakening. You're going to unite them. That's the hope." Rian looked at her in silence. He'd fought for her, bled for her, watched her nearly burn herself alive to stop monsters who viewed her as a power cell. And now she'd leave. He stood, walked to her, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from her core. "And us?" he asked. She turned finally, eyes not quite sad. "You gave me a choice when I had none," she said. "You taught my son kindness. You risked everything for people you didn't know." Her hand touched his chest, light glowing beneath her fingers. "If I stay, I become a root in this soil. If I go, I become a signal to others." Rian exhaled slowly. "Then take me with you." The council announced a planetary reclassification. Helion 9, once forgotten, was now marked as a photonic reserve. Solari biosignatures were to be protected. Theleni guardians were formally recognized, and Rian Kolev was offered command. The outpost was rebuilt, not in rust and steel, but in hybrid tech, root fiber conduits and crystalline walls powered by light rather than fuel. Drones zipped overhead, scanning for order remnants. Lyra ran between the towers, Kyle by her side. They were inseparable now, sibling-like, but strange. When Kyle spoke, Lyra answered. When Lyra dreamed, Kyle saw it. One day she pointed to the sky and said, "She's coming." Minutes later, sensors flared. The dropship appeared at sunset, sleek, polished, almost invisible. It landed in silence outside the outpost gates. Rian waited, arms crossed. Elira emerged, no longer in her armor. She wore something new, woven from Theleni bark and Solari thread, alive and pulsing with energy. Her skin shimmered, but the glow was softer now, focused. "Command offered me a seat in the new peace accord," she said. "They want Solari guidance on photonic ethics." "Sounds boring." "It is," she smiled. "That's why I said no." She stepped closer. "You meant it, didn't you?" she asked. He said nothing, just took her hand and placed it over his heart. "I never thought helping someone falling from the sky," he whispered, "would lead me home." She leaned in, her forehead against his. "Sometimes the light chooses where to land." Later that night, Lyra recorded a message in her holographic diary. My dad doesn't smile much, but today he did. Kyle says the stars are different now, like they're watching. I think this is what peace looks like. Outside, the sky over Helion 9 pulsed with a new constellation, a flare of blue, a seed of light, a promise. Helion 9 woke slowly, not with sirens or metal grinding, but with soft light spilling across its fractured dunes. For the first time in decades, the wind carried no smoke. The sand was cool, the air quiet. Rian stood on the roof of the rebuilt outpost, watching the sunrise through his cracked visor. He didn't bother replacing it. The crack reminded him of the day everything changed. Behind him, the turbines hummed in harmony, Thalini-grown propeller roots turning in sync with Terran solar converters. Technology and nature, not in conflict, but fused, alive. Below, Kyle and Lyra chased holographic fireflies, their laughter echoing off the alloy walls. Lyra floated just above the courtyard, her light shedding warmth on the entire base. She was no longer just Solari. She was something more, hybrid of species, bearer of the light forge, emissary to the galactic accord. She'd become a signal, and Helion 9 had become a beacon. The Council's voice returned, this time not with threats, but invitations. Lyra declined the ceremonial titles. She left the diplomatic robes folded on the table. I'm not a queen, I'm a current. She turned down fleets, commissions, even a temple. But when Rian built a landing platform beside his outpost and left a transmitter tuned to her biofrequency, she came without a word, and she stayed. The final remnants of the Order of Iron were hunted down by a coalition force led by Thalini scouts and Terran cybermarines. Their archives, decrypted by Kale and Lyra, who now shared information without speaking, revealed centuries of infiltration, economic sabotage, controlled rebellions, entire species turned into generators. None of that shocked Rian. What did surprise him was this: every single Order commander had once worked for the Council. They hadn't just betrayed one species, they'd betrayed the whole damn galaxy. A memorial was built on the ridge where the Solari vessel first crashed. Not a statue, a tree, bark of silver, leaves of light. It pulsed softly at night. When Lyra touched it, it whispered in her mind, "Truth takes root where fire once raged." 1 year later, the first joint Solari-Terran vessel launched from Helion 9, the Unity Flare. Rian stood beside Lyra as it rose into the stars. The launch pad glowed beneath them, half made of concrete, half of living crystal. The crowd around them was quiet, reverent. Kyle piloted the ship. Lyra sat co-pilot. They were 11 years old. Didn't matter. They'd earned the stars. Later that night, Rian and Lyra stood alone at the edge of the canyon, where once he'd buried his wife under a broken fusion coil. He knelt, brushed dust from the old plaque. Ayla Kolev, brave, brilliant, gone too soon. Lyra placed her hand on the ground, her light spread in soft ripples, touching the plaque, reaching the roots beneath. "I never knew her," she whispered, "but I feel her every time you speak her name." Rian nodded. "She would have liked you. I think she sent me." He looked at her. "You believe in fate. I believe in light." A signal buzzed across the relay tower, unencrypted. Kyle's voice crackled through. "Relay successful. We've reached orbit around Station Arcturus. No hostiles. Council welcoming party is large." Lyra's voice chimed in. "They brought flags." Rian chuckled. "Stay sharp. Council loves parades." Kyle added, "Already rerouted 3 intercept drones. They were monitoring security. I don't trust them." Lyra smiled. "Good, don't." Then her expression shifted, a sudden stillness. "What is it?" Rian asked. She raised her hand. Glowing veins flared beneath her skin. "A signal from deep space. Solari, but ancient. Rian frowned. Another ship? No, a forge. The light forge. An original. Still active. Still alive. Preparations were swift. The Unity flare was rerouted. Elira sent coordinates. Rian stood on the platform again, this time dressed in black and chrome exo-armor, light reactive, a gift from Kale. His old plasma wrench still hung at his side, modified with Solari pulse tech. Lyra hugged him tight. "Come back." He knelt. "You're the light in my sky, kiddo. Always." Elira stepped aboard the ship last. The doors closed with a soft hiss. As the vessel lifted, the sun rose behind it, not burning, but glowing. 4 weeks later, edge of known space. The stars thinned, space bent. There it was, a station of impossible size, floating inside a gravitational shell, protected by an ancient Solari defense net. The light forge, alive, dormant, waiting. As they approached, the forge pulsed and opened. Inside, an entire Solari city, empty but humming with power. Rian walked beside Elira in silence. At the heart of the structure, a crystal console pulsed. It reacted to Elira's touch and to Rian's presence. "The forge remembers," she whispered. "Your species was once part of us." Rian blinked. "What?" Kale turned, eyes glowing. "The first light, the original human genome, crossed with Solari code. We were one people once, split by war, forgotten by time. And now we reunite." Back on Helion 9, the tree bloomed for the first time. Children of light ran through its branches. Lyra looked to the sky and smiled.